Okay, so chapter 3 was about right angle trig, and with right angle trig, we learned that the sine ratio is opposite over hypotenuse. The cos ratio is adjacent over hypotenuse. And the tan ratio is opposite over adjacent. Now, the hypotenuse, we remember, is always the side this over a bit. The hypotenuse is always the side that's across from the right angle. It's the longest side, and the reason it's the longest side is because this has to be the largest angle. All three angles add to 180, and if this one's 90, then the other two have to add to give you 90, so they both have to be smaller than that. So our hypotenuse in our triangle is always the one that's across from the right angle, and it's always the longest side. The other thing that we did is we talked about Pythagoras' theorem, where it's a squared plus b squared equals c squared. Okay? So to determine whether you have a side opposite or a side adjacent, that is all dependent on which angle you're talking about. Okay, so for example, if I was talking about angle B, the side opposite would be side B. The side adjacent, the one that's next to it, is A. If I was talking about angle A, the side opposite of angle A is side A. The side adjacent to it is B. You remember all this?
Yeah.
Okay. So then what we'll do is let's take a question and let's work it through. Okay, let's look at page 52. So I'm going to do a question similar to this, but I'm going to ask for more information. So I've got H, that's my height. I've got N, M, L, K. All right. And I'm given 51 degrees and 112. So 51 degrees, and this is 112. Okay, so if I look at this triangle right here, that being a right angle right there. Okay, this is 51 degrees. This is 112. So what I want to do is find out the measure of the other angle. So I need the measure of K. I also want to find out what little k is and what little l is over here. All right. So in order to do that, first of all, the easiest thing to do is to find the third angle. And how would you find the third angle there?
Use cos, I think.
Okay. Now, in order to use the other, in order to use your trig, all right, you would need at least one side and one angle. So it is possible to find it. However, all we know is this 112. We don't know the measure of the other sides. Okay, so what is the measure of angle M here? 90. And this angle right here is 51. So how do we determine what the third angle is then? What's the measure of all three angles in a triangle? What do they always add up to?
180.
Mm-hmm. That's right. So if I know two of them, can I find the third if I know that they all add up to 180?
51, I think.
You think angle K is 51?
Yeah.
Okay, well, let's try this again. Let's look at it. All right. What's angle M? 90, correct?
Yeah.
And angle L is 51 degrees. And together that makes 141 degrees. So between the two angles, I have 141 degrees. So what does the third one have to be in order for them all to add up to 180? How would you find that?
You just go to 39 degrees.
Atta girl, that's better. Okay, so the first thing that you learn then is when you know two of the three angles in the triangle, to find the third angle, you simply add the two other ones together and subtract them from 180. That's one way to do it. The other way to do it is, Avery, I know this is 90, right? So that means that this angle K and this angle L also has to add to give you 90, because 90 and 90 make 180, correct?
Yeah.
So I could take 90 and subtract 51 and I would have got the same answer without having to add the other 90 in. Okay? Does that make sense? Do you remember this now?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Now, here's what we want to do. All right. K is right here. Where is K in relation to 51 degrees? Is it opposite or is it adjacent?
Adjacent.
Adjacent. Okay, great. So I have the side adjacent. Where is the 112 in relation to 51? What part of the triangle is it?
Opposite.
Okay. So where do I find opposite from an angle?
Opposite the 90 degrees.
Okay, so yeah, you're right. It's opposite the 90 degrees. So what do we call the side that's always opposite to the 90 degrees?
Opposite? Or the hypotenuse.
The hypotenuse, okay. So far we're getting there, right? Okay, so I have adjacent over hypotenuse, which you already stated was cos. Okay? So far so good?
Yeah.
All right. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to rewrite this now. I'm going to use angle 51. I'm going to use K at 112. So the cos of 51 degrees is the ratio of the side length of K over the side length of 112, which is my hypotenuse. So to get K, I have to move the 112 to the other side. Right now it's divide by 112. So therefore, how do I move it to the other side? If it's divide now, what do I have to do to get rid of it?
Times it.
Times it. So I take 112 and times it by cos 51. And what do you get? You have your calculator there?
No. I forget though.
No, that's okay. I got it here. That's all right. Don't worry about it.
Okay.
All right. Cos 51 times 112. So I get 70.484. Okay, so that's my length of K now. All right, I'm going to do this again. I'm looking at angle 51 right here. Okay, where is L in relation to 51?
Opposite.
Opposite. Okay, great. So we know it's opposite. Where is 112 in relation to 51?
Adjacent or hypotenuse.
Okay, perfect. Good correction. It's the hypotenuse. So now I'm going to go sine 51 degrees equals L over 112. All right? And multiply it, and I get 87.040. Okay, so far?
Yeah.
All right, now, here's the thing, Avery. I can now check to see if I have my answer correct. What am I going to use to check to see if these two side lengths are correct? Do you remember? What's that one other thing that deals with just sides?
Oh, a squared plus b squared.
Yeah, there you go. Okay, great. So when I punch in 70.484 squared and 87.04 squared, it should equal to whatever 112 squared is, or if I take the square root of it, it should equal 112, which it does.
Okay.
Okay, so you following me so far?
Yeah.
All right. Okay. So the one thing that I do when I work with the trigonometry, okay, is I make sure that whatever angle I'm using, that's how I determine whether my side's opposite or adjacent. It depends on the angle that I choose. And then that tells me whether I use sine, cos, or tan.
Okay.
Okay? All right, that pretty much covers everything that's in that section. So maybe what I would suggest you do this morning is maybe do 1 or 2 questions from each of the actual individual sections in that trig, just to get back familiar with it. So 3.1, maybe do questions, I don't know, 3 and 4. And then questions 32, do question 8 and 9 maybe. And 33, maybe do a couple out of that question 12. And if you're comfortable with your trigonometry, then I would move to page 53 and do your cumulative review. Okay? So that's what I want you to work on today. Most of the other students haven't handed in that assignment, so I'm just going to put a note on YouTube there to get the assignments in. I've got your assignment. Thank you for that. Do you have any other questions this morning?
I don't think so.
Okay. All right. So you work through some questions on 51 and 52, and then get started on 53 for Monday, and then we'll finish that on Monday. We'll finish off 53 and 54. Okay?
Okay.
Right on.
Okay.
Okay. Have a good weekend. Thank you.
You too.
Okay.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye.